Hello, my name is Kiriath, and today I come to you with a question regarding the Horus Heresy. Just the tabletop, not the books. Well, technically the books, the black books that you have for the tabletop game for the Horus Heresy. You know what I'm talking about. So I took a brief little jaunt to the Forge World website because I wanted to just quickly price up the Dark Angels Leviathan with 2 Siege Claws, because I already have a Leviathan. I need to build it, planning to do that this weekend, and with that stupid Dreadnought army back there will be at like 3,000 points, which is, I mean, why would you not do that? 3,000 points of just Dreadnoughts, ridiculous, and fun. And I kind of thought to myself, well, 1 Leviathan, is it really enough? Is it enough, given how much I like those models? And given the Dark Angels one I like especially, surely 2 wouldn't be too much of a stretch, now would it? I mean, obviously it would. It's ludicrous and stupid. Why would you want that many Dreadnoughts? But that's the situation we're in right now. We just have to deal with it. And as often happens, I got distracted. This happens a lot. I tend to look at the character series a lot on Forge World for the Horus Heresy because there is a lot of really good stuff in there. Most of the character series I like quite a bit. I'm not a huge fan of the more recent Blood Angels one, the Terminator Space Wolf, not a particular fan of that, but for the most part, there are some good models that kind of give that little spark of what else would I do with that. It's a good way to look outside of what I'm currently working on and maybe have ideas for other stuff. And it's only just struck me, only now, and I know it's a bit late for it to only strike me now, that we're still missing a couple of Primarchs out of that character series. Which then led me to think, well, okay, hang on, how long has it actually been since we had the first Horus Heresy book? Book 1, Betrayal, when was that? Maybe I'm just like, my gut reaction was, wait, are we seriously still missing some? That can't be right. Had a quick look, and 2012 is when Horus Heresy Book 1, Betrayal came out. That was 7 years ago. We are getting close to 8 years of the Horus Heresy, and we are still lacking a couple of Primarchs. Now, it's only looking at it in that context that I suddenly realised how absurd that is to me. I don't think I've thought about it before, because I don't collect Horus Heresy, because I don't play Horus Heresy. It's not something that I've really thought about a huge amount. But the entire point and purpose of that setting is that fully half of the Emperor's sons turned traitor, and their legions had a big, massive civil war that changed the Imperium forever, changed the future and course of mankind forever, and some of those sons are still not in the fight after 7 years, getting on for 8 years. That, to me, is genuinely bizarre. I do not understand how it's taken that long. Now, don't get me wrong, it does not take 2 minutes to sculpt a model. It's not like someone could just sit there and go, right, it's Monday today, by Friday I will have Sanguinius done. That's not gonna happen. I accept that, of course, with the Primarchs especially, a huge amount of care and time has to go into them. There is then also all the other Horus Heresy stuff alongside it that you've got to sculpt and produce, and it takes a lot of work. But I would have thought if anything is a priority, it would be the Primarchs themselves, given that is pretty much the entire point of that setting. That is the catalyst. It is not, the legions decided, well, I don't care what my Gene Father wants, I don't care what he does, we're turning traitor. I mean, there were instances of that, yeah, but it was pretty heavily driven by the Primarchs themselves, I think it's fair to say. So why don't we have them all yet? That then led me to look at some of the other stuff that we've seen for the Horus Heresy. I can remember a point where it felt like there were big reveals and big releases for the Horus Heresy, and it doesn't feel like that happens very much anymore. It feels very much like it has become spread out, like it's become just spaced and following a certain pattern. I mean, something that struck me when I was looking at the Leviathans was I'd kind of taken it for granted that the last few kind of Forge World releases that we've had in terms of the Horus Heresy have followed a particular pattern. You get a Contemptor, you get a Leviathan, you get a Praetor, and you get a Praetor in Cataphractii armour. That's how that has seemed to go for quite a while now. The fact that there are legions that do not have their own version of a Leviathan, when I actually thought about it, was a little bit surprising. But then I remembered that I don't think it was really all that formulaic before. At least it doesn't feel like it was that formulaic. It doesn't feel as though it was a standard thing of, okay, you get 2 of these and 2 of these, and there you go. I mean, the White Scars did get some interesting stuff. I mean, they got their jet bikes and stuff, which is fine. Minimally changed. There doesn't really seem to be that much different about them to the standard jet bikes, except the front has been redesigned slightly. It feels like it's ramping down in a pretty severe way. It feels kind of, I won't say directionless, and a lot of this is just down to like the perception of an outsider. Like, not playing the game, I have no driving. There's no like driving passion behind keeping up with it. It's not like I'm desperately sitting there going, okay, when's the next Horus Heresy release? Come on, I need it now. It's more just when it shows up, it feels like it shows up increasingly rarely. And it feels like when it shows up, there is this formula of you get these 2 vehicles, these 2 guys, and that's what you have. There is the odd independent character, yes, but overall, the Horus Heresy does not feel like it's doing well. But that's just me from the outside looking in, and that's why I'm making this. That's why I want to talk about it in this video, because I want to know if that's actually a fair assessment. Like, when I look at what is being released for the Horus Heresy, when I look at the things that are still missing, is it fair to look at it and think that doesn't seem to be doing great? Or am I missing something from that? Is it actually more balanced in terms of releases now? Is it a case of the different legions are actually getting equivalent things and therefore that's better for the game? Is it something like that? I mean, it feels like the book releases have slowed quite a bit as well. I mean, Betrayal was 2012. Then you had... Oh my god, my eyes are terrible. Then you had Massacre in 2013. And then the next one was 2014. The 4th one was also in 2014. The next one, 2015. And so it feels consistent. It feels like they are coming out pretty regularly. Then after that, 2016. But then we get to 2017, and then there's a jump to 2019. Even the book releases feel slower. It feels like they are slower, and it feels like the actual models that are coming through for the Horus Heresy are just appearing with increased rarity and following that formula of Contemptor, Leviathan, Praetor, Praetor, and that's what you get. Even the Praetors themselves have begun to feel formulaic. It feels like quite a few of them have Cataphractii armour, which, as I understand it, is fine, but some of them don't match up with some of the other armours that the legions have. I mean, this is mostly stuff that I'm remembering second-hand from the Outer Circle, and I could well be misremembering, but even that feels like a case of, okay, this is the model we use for this thing, we're going to use it for this too. But I don't know whether that's fair. As someone looking at it from the outside, as someone who is mainly focused on 40k, and even when it comes to mainly focused on 40k, currently the lion's share of work is going into a stupid, like, meme army. It just doesn't feel like the Horus Heresy is getting like the justified amount of time now. Obviously, the passing of Alan Bligh will have had a fair bit to do with it, but being this far in and missing things as key to the setting, as key to the story, as models for Primarchs, it just feels weird to me. It feels as though something is distinctly going wrong, or has gone wrong and has never quite recovered. But I don't know whether that's fair. I don't know whether that's just me reading too much into things from the outside. I don't know whether, in actual fact, the way that things are being done now might be being seen as better. It strikes me as unlikely, but that's why I'm asking the question. All of that, is that a fair assessment? Is it winding down? Should we have had this stuff by now? Does it feel directionless? Does it feel like it's become formulaic? Or is it just is it just like the perspective of someone who doesn't know the game intimately? It's therefore not unbalanced, but maybe not as well rounded and not as informed as it could be. Essentially, do you think it's in a good place? Because as someone from the outside looking into that particular system, someone who is investing their time into 40k, not into the Horus Heresy, I'd be very interested to hear what you guys think about where it is, just in general at the moment. So yeah, let me know what you think of all of that in the comments down below. I'd be really interested to read what you guys have got to say about this, because, as I say, I don't feel like I have the required investment or inside knowledge to make a fair judgment, but I also can't help but feel that it just doesn't seem to have the urgency and the variation, the frequency that it once had. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments down below. In the meantime, feel free to click all the things, Patreon, video, subscribe, all that stuff. Click it if you like, don't click it if you don't want to. And as always, there is an affiliate link in the description for Element Games. It's a nice way to support the channel. If you click it, you get between 15% and 25% off basically every tabletop thing and paint ever made. And I get a little something for sending you that way, and 10% of anything raised through that link will go to charity at the end of the month. So at the end of the month, I'll take 10% of whatever you guys have raised through that link and give it to a charity of your choosing. We'll do a poll thing and we'll work out what the best place to send it is. So yeah, let me know what you think. Click that if you want to. I'll see you for the next one. Toodaloo.